you're a really phenomenal leader and role model when it comes to just bringing all of you, all the vulnerability out there, not just in your relationship,
Mm,
but to everyone, because anyone can listen
mm,
to that podcast, anyone can watch your Instagram, and there's
mm,
full spectrum, mega on your Instagram. There's you like stripping, there's you like anger ants, there's like all the things that are on there. And so your full
mm,
spectrum's on there. And I'm curious to know for any of the other women out there that want to be full spectrum. I know not everyone has to be full spectrum through their social, but I think it's a beautiful
mm.
example of how you bring yourself to all of your life. And I really want to hone in on how have you got rid of the shame or the fear around being full spectrum woman in a like with your family essentially, or with Jacob's family. Like
Mm,
he's calling you lover if you're at a Christmas thing and he's like, hey, lover, and like your family are around.
mm.
And maybe, I don't know if you have siblings or your parents, and like, just how have you been comfortable with like, I saw one of your videos, you had like cross nipple tape on, and you're like, first time I stripped with Jacob, and you're like, your family will be seeing this stuff. I'm just curious
Totally.
to know.
Jacob's mum follows me. My mum follows me. They see everything.
Yeah,
Um,
like I want to know how other like what's the transmission? Were you nervous about it
yeah,
initially? Did you get through it? How's it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna cough. Okay. Um, yeah. So I think it, what are we up to? Five, six. Um,
Yeah.
I
What,
think
6?
I think it's important to know about me that I have not always been this way at all. That even like I'm one of three girls. I'm like the middle child and I have two sisters. And out of my two sisters, I was like the one that was so easily embarrassed. If you spoke about sex to me, like as a teenager, I was like, oh my God, I would like run from the room and go bright red in the face. And
Mm,
yeah, I was just a really embarrassed kid.
mm,
And so, and I was like, I was confident, but only confident at things I was like good at. Like I was very good at school. I was good at sport. So I like was confident at things that I knew I was good at and knew I was like a real high achiever. Um, but any other kind of realm of life, no. Like I was really embarrassed, really insecure. Um, but then even looking like you even so if we like almost like fast forward to now, which is I'm almost 31. Uh, Even you saying like, oh, being at a lunch and Jacob, like with my family calling me lover and like, Instagram, I don't even think of those things now. I'm just like, but none of that really, there's not really a time where I'm thinking, should I be in my full expression? Should I contort myself here? But that has been a really slow journey. That has not just been like there was one thing or like a click of a fingers. Um, I think it has been just like like devotion to the path. And
mm,
a big part for me, like I started a blog when I was 21. So I think when I was, 10 years ago, that really got me expressing myself online. And I was talking about health and wellness and smoothies and, being spiritual, like all those things. So it wasn't really anything taboo or anything really that felt um, there was like shame there. But it was definitely, I think I met a lot of the parts of me at that part of my journey where people, because I was very intelligent and a high achiever, people were looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? You just quit uni to start a blog and become a yoga teacher?
mm,
So I think at that part of my journey, I really had to deal with like being misunderstood and really trusting my truth. Like that was
mm,
huge for me. Then it was like, oh, they're not going to get this, but this feels so right for me. So I'm just going to follow what feels right and not have to try and prove anything to anyone.
mm.
Um, but then if we kind of like fast forward a little, I remember when I really, really, began being on the path of like sexual awakening and having my own
Yeah.
sexual awakening, which was 4 or 5 years ago. And I remember the first kind of like sexy lingerie kind of photo I put on my Instagram, which now I look back and it was like, it wasn't even, I was like smiling. It wasn't as even if I was like,
I'm sexy.
yeah, it was just like, hey, I'm a sexy outfit. And I just thought it was so edgy at the time. And I remember being really nervous. Actually, my dad had just gotten Instagram. Or actually, I posted it and my dad didn't have Instagram. And then I was at my mum and dad's house like 2 days later. And my dad wanted me to help him get Instagram. And then he wanted to add me. And then, then how you feed, he had only like 2 followers. So like that was the only photo on the feed. And I remember just being like feeling a lot of shame and feeling a lot of like, holy fuck. And I remember it being really uncomfortable and wanting to like, flick through. And then I think the only way, and this has definitely been my way, it's like, I don't think I got rid of shame. I think I just felt it. Like I felt, and I think this is huge for women reclaiming their sexuality and coming home to their sexuality. It's not like the only way out is through. The only way to be a liberated woman, to be a sexually expressed woman, to be a full spectrum woman is to really fucking look that shame in the eyes, to really feel like located in the body and to be like, okay, like I'm going to meet you. I'm going to feel you. And so, and that can be gritty and that can be, and that can happen. Like for me, I love the practice of self-pleasure. Like a lot of feeling shame happened in my own self-pleasure practice or my own dancing in my room and like uncaging my wild slut. I got to feel the parts of me that were like, this is scary. Or, what are people going to think of you? Or, you shouldn't move your body that way because you're not that kind of woman. Like I got to feel that in my own practice and in my own body. And I think that's really key as well. It's like we're going to have these moments out in life where the shame happens or the part of us that's like, oh my gosh, what's this person going to think? Or is it safe for me to be fully expressed here? And we get to really be in the practice of meeting that shame in the moment. But I also think having our own practices where we're almost going into the body and bringing that to the surface to meet it and to be with it and to feel it.
That's so powerful. What I'm hearing and I'm loving is like you're just like a courageous woman, like, and that's what you help women become. Because I know, like, I'm an intellectual masculine dude who's like also feels and whatnot, but I have this model around like the different types of fears, and emotional, like feeling emotion is one of the big 6 fears that I teach. And I feel like for a woman or like for the feminine, that's like the biggest, and it's the most, I'm getting the gist now. It's like emotions, full authenticity. If you can't be courageously in your emotion, you can't be authentic. You don't get to be yourself in this lifetime. Like you're caged at a family thing. Like, I'll just show this slice of the pie. I'm not going to show the whole thing. And I feel like I can see that I'm really feeling the transmission of what's possible for someone, for a woman. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And I think a piece is here to speak to is that, because I work with a lot of women around their sexuality and their sexual expression, and you can be a sexually liberated woman, and it doesn't mean that you're always in your sexual expression. It doesn't mean that I'm at family events like, flashing people or like, talking about my sex life. Like, no, and that still means I'm a sexually liberated woman. Like, we also have, being a fully expressed woman or a full spectrum woman is also about having discernment. It's not about like vomiting all of our expression over people to be like, look how vulnerable I am, or look how fully expressed I am. It's not performative. It's also like having that discernment to be like, this doesn't feel like a safe space for me, or this just isn't the energy that I'm in right now. And it doesn't mean that I'm not liberated, or it doesn't mean that I'm pushing any parts of me down. I'm just a discerning woman.